Well, it's time now to talk sport, and we're going to try something a little bit different this morning. Richard Friedman and Greg Radley are currently hosting the big sports breakfast on Sydney radio station 2KY.
So we thought we'd just cross straight over to them and butt in and chat to them while they're on air. Richard and Greg, can you hear us?
Nice of you to butt in.
Good morning,
fingers
guys.
crossed it worked. I love the technology.
Who are these people?
Hey, now I can confess something here. Your listeners aren't going to know this, but you're dressed beautifully this morning. You're in matching shirts.
Yes, as opposed to how we usually are. We put on these shirts for you.
Richard normally wears the most beautiful Hawaiian shirts, which he's been told he's not allowed to wear on Channel 7.
No.
Well, welcome to the sports version of Big Brother. This is great. We can just cut in on you guys at any time of your show. Just remember that, all right?
Just tell me I don't want to be picking my nose or anything, you know? Okay.
You didn't put one in the toilet, did you? The camera.
Let's cross there now. Let's start off with the cricket, guys. What about last night?
Oh, tell you what, last night, I'm very upset about last night, not because we played brilliantly. We shot 283, and that's a great score. And you have to be satisfied with Brett Lee. He scored 51. Top scored for the innings, the bowler, Brett Lee, and he hit 27 off one over, he and Darren Lehman. So it was a fantastic effort to get that far. But it was all to no avail because it wasn't enough, Greg.
They all chipped in all the way along. They were just piling up the runs, and then when Waugh and Lehman were there, and then later, as you said, Brett Lee, that's when they really had a go. And you'd think that 283 would have been enough to win, which it was.
Yes.
But we didn't want to just win. We wanted to avoid the we wanted to get the bonus point.
We had to bowl them out for under 226, and the problem has been that we couldn't get them under 226. We got them. They got 250 in the end. We beat them, but they stopped us from getting a bonus point, and that put us out of the final. Now it's New Zealand and South Africa in the final.
We won, but it wasn't quite enough. Hey, listen, you've got to feel sorry for Steve Waugh, though, don't you? I mean, they're calling for his head. We win, we stuff up on this bonus point business, and they want his scalp.
Yeah, and they won't get it. I mean, he's one of the great captains that we've had. I'm sure we haven't won. We're not in form, but Steve Waugh is still doing, I think, a great job as captain. He's got to lift his batting at the moment. He's even having a bowl now. His brother Mark Waugh certainly has to lift his form as well, although yesterday they seemed to bat okay.
Yeah, Steve Waugh's not the villain.
On this?
Well, yes, we do. Steve Waugh's not the villain here. The villain here is Stephen Fleming. What they did on Friday night to manipulate the score so that they handed a bonus point to South Africa, which made it so much more difficult for Australia to make the final. They're the real villains, the Kiwis in this. Every Australian should go out to the cricket ground and just boo the Kiwis.
Yeah, see, there's a school of thought that they're getting us back for the underarm.
Yes.
So, I mean,
don't blame him, though. They're the
40
rules.
years ago, didn't it?
Yeah, but
21.
guys, I mean, that's the way it works, and he saw the opportunity.
Would you
go
think
for
we were
the
villains
point.
if
He
we
had
did
to
it?
do it. We would have done it,
hang
surely.
on. Whose side are you on here? Huh?
I'm just trying to throw some spice. I thought you two were supposed to disagree occasionally, you know.
There's a Kiwi
if I've got to do
accent
it, fine.
Hey, I suspect he's a Kiwi.
Yeah, there's a Kiwi accent.
Here we go.
Yeah, don't expect us to argue anymore. We're going after you, Chrissy boy.
You're an anti-Aussie. You're a rabid
I'm being
anti-Aussie.
un-Australian. Don't tell John Howard.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave at this point. It's getting a bit, a bit hot in here now.
Just quickly then, do you think the whole bonus point system needs review? Is it working?
Well, the guy who invented it, Jeff Prentice, said it wasn't meant for a 3-team series. It was meant for a 6-team series like the ING Cup. So maybe that's a point. Bonus points mightn't work when there's 3 or less teams.
When there's only 3 teams, it can be manipulated. When there's 6 teams, it's unlikely that it can be manipulated.
Yeah.
Hey, a big weekend for the South Africans. Ernie Els as well.
Yeah, well, Retief Hoosen won over there in Perth, and then Ernie Els, his countryman, comes across and wins in Melbourne in the Heineken Classic. He'll come back and defend it next year. Now he's got to go after the Tiger in the United States. He admitted to getting a little bit worried when Greg Norman got close, but it wasn't close enough, and Ernie kicked away again. But I suppose Ernie Els playing so well. The good news story that Greg Norman did have a go.
Yep.
And he's back, which is good
and
news.
Peter Fowler.
He's
back.
Peter Fowler.
He was tied for second. He's only 5 strokes behind. I mean, that's a pretty big margin, but only 5 strokes behind Ernie Els.
Yeah.
And Peter O'Malley was tied in second spot as well with David Howell from England. Michael Campbell was a stroke away behind them. So it was a pretty high-class field, and good to see some of the seniors up there. Really, where are these young golfers that we've been touting? They didn't appear on the weekend. Perhaps next week in the ANZ Challenge, which starts on Thursday, maybe they'll bob their heads up there, Greg.
Guys, just quickly, there was some sad news too. The Kiwis losing the footy on the weekend.
Yes, very, very sad news. I'm sure you're really upset about that, Chris. Yes, that was a wonderful moment in sport.
The Rugby Sevens, Australia did defeat the Kiwis in the final of the Rugby Sevens. Tim Atkinson, who was a player with the ACT Brumbies, you see him there scoring a try. He was brilliant. He was the leading try scorer. And for other people who may be interested, Matthew Rogers and Wendell Saylor, the rugby league converts, both played in the final, both played very well, particularly Matthew Rogers, who looks set for a stellar rugby career.
Stellar. Hey guys, while we're covering it all, let's talk boxing. Aussie Glenn Kelly had a bit of a shot at the world title. Didn't win, but did fantastically.
Yeah, he got a shot at the world title, which is great. He fought the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world, Roy Jones Jr., but he was never in the fight. He went down with a real harsh body blow, and then the time come when Roy Jones Jr. put his hands behind his back. He taunted Glenn Kelly, got him with an overhand, right? An overhand. It was just...
He just smacked it straight in the side of Glenn Kelly's head, and down went Glenn Kelly. That was the end of it. He was never in the fight. He was on his back, and the thing you can say about Glenn Kelly is you've got to give him points for courage.
And now,
bonus points, you reckon?
Yeah, bonus point for courage.
Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. We must dash. You have fun there, and we'll check the cameras throughout the morning, see what you're up to, maybe.
Okay.
We'll be covering all the sport in the Big Sports Breakfast, so we'll keep going.
Have a good day.
Why?
The technology works is great. Before you write in, I'm only trying to play the devil's advocate there. I'm not being anti-Australian. We should mention we'll be talking more cricket too in the next break with Seven's Mike Whitney.
Maybe he can explain it all or justify it all or whatever he can do. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. We are now into the final week, though, of our Canterbury competition,
Which is